Hey everybody, in today's video we are going to talk about our amazing trip to Merida in the Yucatan Peninsula.
And tip number 1, the food was very, very good. And tip number 2, be prepared, it is hot.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean.
And I'm Deb. And today we were going to talk to you about a trip we took to Merida, Mexico.
Yep.
And we did this trip last year, and it was part of our series of exploring for possible places to be a digital nomad or spend a little bit of time.
Yep. We thought we would go down to the Yucatan, kind of see what it was like. Deb had Merida as kind of one of the high on her list that we should check out, so we thought we would go down and give it a try. I will tell you, I was a little skeptical that we were going to Merida because Deb doesn't do great in hot, humid places, and I was like, all right, well, let's go give it a shot and see how it goes.
Well, and one of the reasons for Merida is popular is one of the safest cities in Mexico, so it's actually a very popular place to
Cut to the chase. It's a great city. I really enjoyed Merida. It was nice, yeah.
So we used Southwest to get down to Mexico because we quite often have Southwest points we could use.
Yep.
And so we landed in Cancun and took about a 4-hour bus ride, maybe a little bit over 4 hours from Cancun to Merida. It was very, just an easy bus ride.
The bus was nice because Mexico has the ADO system, and it's a really nice bus system, and they have different tiers of buses, so you can take the regular ADO, and then they have like ADO Silver, or they have ADO Platino.
Platino,
yeah. And I think we took the
We took that one on the way to Merida. Yeah.
And it's like taking a nice coach bus in the U.S. So it was nice. They had TVs that you could watch a movie and refreshments. It was nice. So it was great. So for 4 hours on a bus, that's the way to do it.
And Merida does have an airport, so if you wanted to fly directly to Merida, you could.
It's just, for us, it was we used points. She was a companion pass, so airline trip was free.
And then an inexpensive bus ride.
And that's it for on the Platino. I feel, if I remember right, the whole 4-hour bus trip was like $40 each, something like that.
It was cheap.
Yeah, so not bad at all. Yep.
So we made it to Merida safely, and what happened when we got to Merida?
Well, the funniest part was, so Deb's all excited about Merida. It's going to be awesome. This could be a great place for us to spend time as digital nomads. And she got off the bus, and it was, this was January.
We purposely went in January thinking, okay, wintertime, we'll get a little bit of a break.
Yeah, no, she got off the bus, and she goes, nope, no. like the hot and humid, it was hot and humid. Merida is...
And here we sit in Florida, it is also hot here. But Merida was very intense.
It's in the northern Yucatan, like close to the ocean. It is hot and humid, but so she's just like, it was like, nope, not gonna happen. So, but we journeyed on.
But we really enjoyed our trip there.
Yeah,
so that was
absolutely.
Great.
I would go back to Merida in a heartbeat. Just honestly, just for the food, which we'll talk about. But
we'll talk about the food.
Absolutely.
Yes. So the heat and humidity, that was one thing. If you can get a hotel with a swimming pool.
And we did, and it was a great refresher.
Yes. And our hotel was just a couple blocks off I'm going to let you say it, Paseo de.
What is it? Let me see the thing.
We have to write this down.
Paseo de Montejo.
Montejo.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty famous street in Merida. It's just lined with shops, restaurants, old fancy large houses that have been turned into restaurants.
We went on a chocolate
tour.
cacao tour that was really cool, right there in the center of the Avenida. It was cool. Yeah.
It's also where on Sundays, and we happen to be there on a Sunday, like they do often in South and Central and
Mexico.
Mexico. They'll close off a street or part of a street, so you can walk, bike, run, walk your dog, whatever, without the cars, and there's vendors out. It's very, it's just kind of nice. The whole community just kind of comes out and walks.
Yeah, it was nice because they actually had bicycles out that you could rent. And I remember, I think we tried to see if we could find that in Cuenca, but in Merida, like they were out right there. You could rent a bicycle right there.
I did find that compared to the walk we did in Medellin, it was much shorter.
It was shorter, not as long as a loop, but it was a nice. I remember too. hot.
It was hot.
So it was nice that it was a little shorter, but it wasn't short by any means. I feel like we probably walked at least a mile and a half, like in the loop.
Yes, that's true.
So tons of the restaurants are all open, the little cafes and the bakeries, the panaderias are all open. You can get coffee. And it's just a ton of people biking, walking, pushing strollers, you know, having a good time.
Speaking of food, I felt like every meal we had in Merida was really good. I don't think we had a not good meal. It's the first time I've ever ordered waffles for breakfast and got ice cream on my waffles. So that was new.
That was a big surprise. She was like, yeah.
And that was just a little diner.
Yes.
And it was good.
And
everything we ate there was good.
I had these like a Mexican egg scramble with green chilies there that was fantastic. I think that Merida, so far in the places that we've been to in Mexico, Merida was my favorite foodie place. And it wasn't just what you would consider to be traditional Mexican fare, authentic Mexican fare. It was Merida was a bit of an international city, so we actually got Italian food one night at a restaurant that everybody kept recommending to us. And so we tried quite a few different restaurants. If you are interested in going to Merida and you're a foodie, it is a great place to go. Tons of different places to
And then we
enjoy.
ordered a few different drinks at different places, and those were all really good too.
The food was fantastic. I would go back to Merida in a heartbeat just to go try a bunch of different new places that we haven't had yet. So it was really good.
Yep. And then, so one of the other big things we did in Merida, and we knew we wanted to do there because we'd be taking a tour from Merida, is we wanted to go see the World Mayan Museum.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. It was like I want to say like a 20-minute cab ride, you know, just out of the city. It's easy to catch cabs in Merida, so there are lots of them. We took about a 20-minute cab ride, and the Mayan Museum was really cool. There happened to be at the same time, and they probably do this, they rotate artists' installations in. So not only did we get to see the Mayan Museum, but we got to go see some cultural art from regional artists, which was really neat. So
yeah, I do highly recommend that museum. Our only disappointment in the museum was that the cafeteria was closed.
Because we couldn't get coffee. we wanted coffee, and we were like, oh, the cafeteria's closed. But I thought it was a great kind of precursor to the next day, because you could go learn about the Mayan history, understand, kind of a lot of the history of the Yucatan, and then go do something really cool, which we did the following day. So having gone to the Mayan Museum in Merida, the reason that we kind of did it is we knew we were going the next day to visit the ruins at Chichén Itzá, which was awesome. And Deb, as she does, found an amazing tour guide to be able to help us. And we can talk about kind of the pros and cons of going on a tour to Chichén Itzá, but our tour turned out pretty good. I enjoyed it.
So we went through via tour for the tour. You absolutely can catch a bus yourself and go back. It's probably maybe a couple hours it's almost halfway between Merida and Cancun.
Yeah.
But so we decided to go through a tour. One of the positives for going through the tour is they're going to drive you there. You're going to get there early and get in before the crowds. As you'll see some of the pictures we took of us in front of the ruins, there's almost nobody there.
That was the biggest benefit of going on the tour to me, is that we got to go in a little bit early, because you could tell once
there was already lines of people when we got there, and we just sort of skirted past them with our tour.
And when the gates opened up, we could tell, because people came in.
Yeah.
So it was great to be there when it was a little bit quieter.
And then the other nice thing was too, is we got to go to a couple other places. We'll talk about the other places, but one in particular was fascinating, and we would not have gone there without the tour.
Right.
And our tour was a small group tour, so there was maybe 10 of us or so.
10 I think, and the driver was fantastic, very helpful, especially at Chichén Itzá. But I thought he was a great driver in that he would tell us everything that was going on. He helped us, I don't know if you remember, he helped us when we could do the clap, do the clap right in front of the big pyramid, and you could hear it. It sounded like maybe an eagle calling, or that was kind of cool. So he knew all of the things to do at Chichén Itzá to experience it. But then he just let us wander.
Yeah,
so
so
that
the
we could
first
enjoy
part
it.
when we got in was some history lessons from him, and he showed us what some of the different ruins. Chichén Itzá itself is huge. It's not just
Yeah.
the one pyramid you usually see in pictures.
Right.
So he gave us a little bit of history, and then we were just...
He took us to the ball court and
Yeah.
explained the ball court and what they know about the ball court and what they don't know about the ball court. And then, yeah, we got to wander. And he gave us, we could go to the observatory or we could go to the well. And you could kind of choose which you want to go. And he let us, kind of point us direction. And we ended up going to the well, which was cool,
Now,
but creepy.
I will say the cenote well, you do not want to swim there because...
No.
All I could think is how many dead bodies.
That was a known place for sacrifices, so you don't want to swim in that cenote.
I don't think it's possible.
But it was cool. Here's the thing about Chichén Itzá that you do need to know is, if you can figure out a way through a tour or somebody else to get in early, that's awesome.
Beat the crowds and you get in before it's too hot.
Yeah,
those perks.
It's becoming a little commercialized. There is, when you get to the beginning of Chichén Itzá, the entrance, there's a Starbucks there, so everybody's getting a Starbucks at Chichén Itzá, but
at least they could have used a local coffee shop.
Right.
I was so shocked it was a Starbucks.
And then, by
we're
the
not
time
including that picture.
when the crowds come in, when the crowds come in, you're going to see TikTokers doing their dances in front of the pyramids. I kind of felt like it was a little disrespectful, but just if you can get there early, because then you can kind of wander around, enjoy the peace and serenity.
There are inside, there's vendors too, so if you want to buy little knickknacks or homemade stuff, that's
water,
fine.
because it's hot. You'll need water. Bring your bottles of water everywhere you go in the Yucatan.
If you're wanting to just go spend an entire day there and do more exploring, you probably don't want to be on a tour because you are time limited. But I did feel that we had plenty of time. It was nice getting in early, and by the time we left, it was already starting to get pretty hot anyway.
Yeah.
So it felt okay for us. But definitely, if you're a photographer or you want to spend more time there filming and taking pictures, then you might want to plan on just making your own way out there, I think.
This one was on my bucket list. I really, really wanted to go to Chichén Itzá.
I believe it's now one of the 7 wonders of the world.
It is.
Not used to be, but I think it is now.
I feel somewhat fulfilled having seen that, checked off that box, been not just to do, just to enjoy it. It is truly a really unique, interesting place.
So then the tour also went to what they call the Yellow City. So Ishmael was the Yellow City, and in Ishmael there. We forgot to mention that in Chichén Itzá you could not climb.
No, you cannot climb the pyramids. You cannot. You're not. Although
unless you're a dog.
Humans aren't allowed to climb the pyramids.
And we did get a photo of a dog. It was just pretty humorous, kind of making his way up and down the stairs. So that was pretty funny.
Up and down. Nobody bothered him. It was good. So that was kind of cool. But Ishmael, so we went to the Yellow City.
And it was more of what you would think of really ruins. It wasn't the ruins that we climbed. No. So it was just more deteriorated and not as well kept.
But it was cool to be able to climb them. And
when you climb them, you have a nice view over the city of Ishmael. And Ishmael, what you see in the pictures is the Yellow City for a reason.
Yeah, it's all yellow. But we got, it was hot, right?
It was hot.
And we stopped in this little tienda and got some popsicles. Yeah, popsicles. And I'm telling you, man, popsicle hits hard when it's 100 degrees and the heat index feels like 110. So those popsicles were great. And then we just wandered the city a little bit.
We just wandered the city, and actually I will say that when we got done with the city, because it was hot, our bus driver offered us some beers.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
We did not turn
nice
down.
guy. Yeah, no, we did not turn those down. It was hot. Anything cold would have been good. So it was good to have a beer.
So another part of the tour that we did through Via Tour on this same day was to visit a private farm in Holka. And the private farm was very small. Just
family owned.
Just a little family owned farm, not very big at all. They had chickens and rabbits.
All kinds of animals wandering around.
All kinds of animals. They cooked us a meal. which was extremely fresh. It was a very good meal.
It was as authentic as authentic gets.
Very authentic.
That was the kind of selling feature of the tours, that you got to go to Chichén Itzá, Ishmael, and then have an authentic meal with a family from the area. They invited you to their farm, and you could come have an authentic meal with them.
And it's the first time you discovered you liked guacamole.
Holy cow! I'm just not. It's not that I don't like guacamole. I've just never. People who talk about guacamole are like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever, best thing ever." I'm a big salsa fan, and I'm just not that thrilled by guacamole. It doesn't turn my key. The guacamole we had on that farm, made from the avocados that were hanging from the trees and the onions that were dug up from their ground, and was completely fresh. I'm telling you, it hit differently. It was so good.
It was very good.
And we had a type of soup, like a tortilla-based soup, that was so good. I mean, we had tostadas, which were outstanding. It
was all very fresh and very good.
Kept feeding us, and it was so good. Everything they offered was amazing. The family was so hospitable. It was really cool. And then one of the coolest things about the farm is the farm was actually built over a cenote,
cenote.
Their own personal cenote.
Swimming in a cenote whenever they want.
But here's the thing: is the cenote is in a cave, so you have to. You'll see in the video, but you have to. You go to this entrance kind of like this hole in the ground.
It's a hole in the ground.
But it has. They've got this nice stairwell, that's built there. And you walk down the stairwell, and you go into this cave. That when you get to the bottom, the cave is probably, I don't know, 70 feet tall. I mean, it's very tall. You're completely underground in the dark, but they have it wired up with lights. And then there's this beautiful underground cenote.
And I don't think I've ever swam in it. Have you ever swam
I've never swam in a cenote before. This one's kind of setting the bar high for cenotes.
And cenotes are popular in that area.
All over Yucatan.
I'm sure we'll try others next time we're there.
For sure.
But that one was very cool. The swimming around in the cave, it was just, I don't know, it was a totally different experience, I guess.
I had the GoPro, and I could go, under the water, and there were fish in the cenote, little fish, little tiny fish in the cenote, but man, I mean, I think everybody on our tour, as we all went down, we were like, what is going on? And then when you get down there and you realize you get to swim in this, and it's huge under there. I mean, it's it's probably, 50 meters maybe in circumference. I mean, it's big. It's, good size. So, half a football field. Think about it that way.
And then the farm had a couple of outside bathrooms and changing rooms for our bathing suits.
They had it all. I mean, this family.
They had it set up.
This family knows what they have, and they're smart about it. And but again, super hospitable. They let us swim in the cenote as long as we wanted to. And the only thing that kind of wrapped it up was everybody was tired because we had been walking in the heat, eating great food, wandering around the cities, having a great time, and it was I think everybody was just exhausted. So for the money we spent, we got every ounce of goodness.
So I would highly recommend that if you do the Viator tour to go see Chichén Itzá, make sure it's combined with that fresh farm cenote. That was such a highlight for me.
Look for a family farm, great authentic meal, and swimming in the cenote, and hopefully that will be the one that you can give a try. I'd do anything to support that family, and I'd go do that again. It was so good. Yep. Okay, if you've watched some of our other videos, as we're kind of exploring this digital nomad experience, one of the questions that we always ask ourselves when we go to a destination is, would we live there, or would we come and spend, 3 months, a month, 2 months, whatever, being digital nomads there? And so I'm curious, what do you think? Would you spend a lot of time in Merida?
So the only drawback I actually felt to Merida was the heat and humidity. It's actually a very nice city. The food was great. You can take, I think it's like a 30-minute bus, and you can go up to beaches near there.
Right.
Cancun was only 4 hours away. It had so much going for it. I'm just not sure for me, and I know when we travel we're going to find other hot and humid places, but for me that heat and humidity was a lot.
I'm working to, we're in Florida here. I'm working to get her
It's hot and humid
accustomed
here
to
too,
it.
yeah.
But to your point, like Merida had it all. Great food, great opportunities to
It was very safe.
explore culture. There's a Walmart right down there, that we had gone to pick up some supplies. It's very metropolitan, so lots of great services, and I had no issues working there. Tons of great internet and great little cafes to be able to go and sit at. So I absolutely would go back to Merida. Obviously we're going together, so Deb would just have to be like, yeah, I'll give it a try and maybe see if
And
if you
Mexico
get
is
used to
so
it.
large. We actually have other places. I
Oh,
would
for sure.
definitely. He's been to Mexico City, but I haven't. So I would love to go tour that.
San Miguel de Allende.
And San Miguel de Allende, and those are going to be cooler than Merida.
Yep. So we've got lots of places in Mexico to go. But if you
I
are
would say for a trip, definitely go see it.
just for the food,
Now
yeah.
I know people that like hot weather. You should go.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're heat tolerant, if you don't care, you like to spend time in the sun and go swimming and go to the beach and that kind of stuff, Merida's fantastic. I would recommend it as a digital nomad.
Yes.
So definitely worth checking out.
Yep.
So that's our video on Merida. Again, if you've got questions about Merida that we can answer, or any of our part of that Yucatan experience, just drop them in the comments. We'll answer them as soon as we can. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.